you thought of that very lovely video when you tweet at us with the hashtag #PlayPokemon and on social medias as well. We have Instagrams, Facebook and Twitters and all of that with the hashtag #PlayPokemon, of course. But we are going to be bouncing into our round 7 game, I believe?
Yeah. Absolutely. And we got 2 world-class players on the line, literally world-class players. One we have seen already. Let me drop the name. It's Markus Stadter, who is 6-0 up versus his good friend Baris, Akcos, also 6-0, and there's a lot on the line right now.
There's a lot on the line. They are very, very close friends. They team build together in the World Championships. They were they came top 8, both of them. While Markus did come top 4, but they were using the same team because they were team building together. And you know, they've always been such great friends. And you know, you can always match them up against each other. You could say historically the best Germans played, probably.
Absolutely. And we can have a look at how they feel right now. Here we see Markus Stadter. He's looking pretty focused right now. He's not impressed by playing a real good friend. They even share a flat, I heard. Up versus Baris. Here we see him. He's focused as well. I don't know. We didn't see Baris' team yet. Though we have seen Markus' team.
Yes, to remind everyone, Markus' team did consist of Arcanine, Garchomp, Tapu Koko, Gengar, Gastrodon and Celesteela.
And we are going to see an interesting team we kind of had on the stream already, consisting of Tapu Bulu, Arcanine, Gastrodon, Gigalith, Salamence and Celesteela. And this is going to be really interesting. I'm really looking forward into this matchup. We are having 2 Celesteelas on the line. Players were have been a bit worried about facing Celesteelas on each other, but we haven't seen the infamous Celesteela war so far, have we?
I mean, we did see it in the last round, but I think in this round in particular, it's all going to be about who can knock out the Celesteela and totally remove that win condition. Markus does have the Arcanine and the Tapu Koko, which could get rid of the Celesteela very, very easily. Meanwhile, Baris does only have the Arcanine to get rid of Markus's Celesteela, but you know, Baris' team, which consists of Tapu Bulu, Arcanine, Gigalith, Celesteela, Salamence and Gastrodon, not much on there apart from the Arcanine that can get rid of Celesteela. We do see the Gastrodon mirror as well, which is always awkward with the wonderful Storm Drain ability that Gastrodon does have.
Absolutely. And what I like about Baris' team is he plays Salamence, which in this format usually is played heavily trained towards the special side, so it can fire off Draco Meteors, potentially Hydro Pumps and some Flamethrower and Fire Blasts as well, which can heavily damage Markus Celesteela, but we will see. We will see,
and we are going to be jumping into the game very, very soon. The Gengar, the Salamence is obviously quite interesting with the Intimidate as well. I think Intimidate is going to be a big one, which will especially bulk up the Celesteela. But we are going to be jumping into the game very soon, and we're going to be seeing leads of Tapu Koko and Gengar from Markus' side of the field, setting up that electric surge probably with the electric terrain, and we see an Arcanine Gigalith return from Baris, so we are going to see the Sandstorm come up, the Intimidate activate and the electric surge, but the electric surge is going to activate first, obviously indicating that the Arcanine is not Choice Scarfed.
Absolutely, I think, well, Baris did make a pretty good lead here. Gigalith gets its special defense boosted by Sandstorm, so it doesn't have to fear to take too much damage from Gengar nor from Tapu Koko. Arcanine has potential to snarl around, so it shuts down kind of the potential from Tapu Koko and Gengar, and if, like Baris, got Tapu Bulu in the back, it's key to shut down that Gengar in the first place.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the Tapu Bulu, it really does not want to face off against the Gengar, but it will be able to get rid of the electric terrain, making sure that the Tapu Koko does as little damage as possible. I think we might be seeing the Tapu Bulu come in, but the Gengar is obviously always a threat, so maybe Baris will be a little bit preservative in terms of which Pokemon he does decide to switch out. But we are going to see Markus switch out his beloved Gengar in favour of the Gastrodon, not risking a potential big attack going onto that Arcanine. But we do see the Gigalith protecting, maybe a little bit worried about a Will-O-Wisp or something of that sort. But we do see the Nature's Madness from the Tapu Koko onto the Arcanine. It's going to do exactly half damage, and yeah, pretty much half damage. But we do see the Z move from Baris side of the field. It's going to activate onto the Arcanine. We are probably going to be seeing a Blazing Inferno, I believe that move is called Inferno Overdrive. That's the move, and it's going to go into something, and whatever it goes into is going to not take it very well, except for maybe that Gastrodon, which does resist the Inferno Overdrive. It's going to not do very much at all. That is a very, very bulky Gastrodon.
It's either a very bulky Gastrodon or the Arcanine is not that offensive as it seems through the Sac Crystal. And now, well, Markus made a really good switch. He like really fears there may be a Tapu Bulu in the back. There may be Celesteela in the back, so Gengar is not that bad of a pick versus Celesteela. If it either runs Thunderbolt, Taunt, Will-O-Wisp, let it be whatever you want. We didn't see all moves from Markus, and we see a switch out. Baris takes out Arcanine and brings in Tapu Bulu because he's free to do so and to fire off a big attack next turn.
Yeah, this is a wonderful switch from Baris. He loses really nothing here, but the discharge is going to come out. This might ruin Baris' plans in the long run, but we don't see any full paralysis. We do see a Toxic onto that Gigalith, so the Gigalith is going to be taking residual damage every single turn. It's going to increase and increase and slowly do more damage, but we do see the Avoid on the Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko avoids the Stone Edge. It was going to take a lot of damage from that Gigalith. Not quite sure if that would have knocked out, but yeah, wonderful play by Baris.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now we got a pretty open situation. Do you think Markus got Celesteela in the back? This would be like the situation to switch it in favor of Gastrodon.
That is very true, and he also wants to probably preserve his own Tapu Koko to make sure it doesn't faint. Absolutely,
absolutely. Wow. Two high-class players on the line. Oh, I really love the match already, and I wanted to know what both players brought to this match to be able to talk about.
I think we are going to be seeing a whole load of defensive switches.
Yeah, and Markus already put a counter on Gigalith, which might come in handy later on. Clever decision to go for Toxic over Scald on this one.
Yeah, especially because with the Sandstorm, the Gigalith does get a big special defense boost. With the Toxic, that special defense boost probably not necessarily negated, but when it takes more and more damage, it doesn't spend as much time on the field. But we do see time running out for Markus there, and we just see the Gastrodon protecting from any potential Horn Leeches or something like that. And we see the Tapu Koko Volt Switch into the Tapu Bulu. It's going to take a little bit of damage, but most importantly, Markus is going to get a switch, but can Baris punish this switch by targeting that slot and not targeting the Tapu Koko? We are going to see Markus is taking his time to really think about what Pokemon he really wants to put in. We can guess at one of his Intimidate users, but we're going to see the Gengar, possibly because of its good Sludge Bomb matchup against the Tapu Bulu. We do see the Wood Hammer into the Gengar. This does break the focus sash. This does way more damage than I thought it was going to do, but the Curse Body activates. That's a big one as well. Now he can't Wood Hammer the Gastrodon. Do see the Stone Edge onto the Gastrodon. I believe Baris was trying to catch some predictions.
Absolutely. As far as I know, Baris, he's always trying to make some reads, especially versus skilled players and versus players he knows. He studies them a lot. He knows that Markus is a fan of defensive switching, having control, and Baris always tries to capitalize on that. And I think we're going to see some hard reads from Baris later on as well.
Yeah, what do you think of that Gengar switch in though? Was it a little bit too risky?
I think so. You don't want to lose that Gengar, especially now there is a timer on Gengar because the Sandstorm is up and...
Yeah, but the big one there, I suppose, is the Cursed Body onto Tapu Bulu. Now Gastrodon can sit there quite comfortably in front of the Tapu Bulu. Yeah, see, Baris now withdraws his Tapu Bulu because of the cursed body not allowing him to Wood Hammer. But we do see a Celesteela come in, probably not exactly what Markus wanted to see as he sludge bomb into the immunity slot there. The Gigalith does take a skull from the Gastrodon quite nicely actually, and we do see a heavy slam probably into the Gengar just to finish it off and bring Markus down to 3 Pokemon only. The cursed body activates again, but I don't think that's extremely relevant.
No, it's still got some rock type moves in the back, and heavy slam is. You do not need heavy slam versus either Gastrodon nor versus a Tapu, not named Tapu Lele, of course. Really curious what he's going to send in now.
My guess is probably going to be the Tapu Koko to reset the electric field, but then again Baris does have the Tapu Bulu in the back to pretty much counter that play immediately.
Yeah.
But we do see the Tapu Koko from Markus' side of the field.
Yeah, as you already said, Tapu Koko enters the field, and now that we all know that this Tapu Koko got Volt Switch, they're pretty neat options right now, right, Matteo?
Yes, the Volt Switch does allow the Tapu Koko to hit one of the Pokemon and switch back out again, especially if the Tapu Bulu is to switch in.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then again, he can reset the terrain later on again, and that's why Volt Switch Tapu Koko is like a really neat idea, especially against the terrain wars.
I really love Volt Switch Tapu Koko exactly for that reason. I think it works especially well on choice spec sets where you're not entirely sure what move you want to lock yourself into, so you might as well Volt Switch, get out of there immediately, and then be able to choose lock yourself into a choice specs move the next turn you're out there.
Yeah.
But we do see the Wide Guard probably fearing the discharge. Gigalith does go for Wide Guard. Is it going to protect against the discharge? We don't see a discharge. We see a straight Volt Switch into that Celesteela. It's going to do a lot less damage than I thought it was going to do, actually.
Same.
The Tapu Koko does switch out, probably in favour of an Arcanine or something of that nature. We do see the Garchomp. But maybe we're just going to see the Celesteela go for the Leech Seed. It misses! It misses, that's big, but the skull does go into the Celesteela. We see the burn? We do not see a burn, and the Gigalith is still sitting there. It's sitting very pretty.
Absolutely, absolutely, and still Tapu Bulu in the back. Gigalith poison, taking huge amount of damage from the poison.
Okay, it's not sitting so pretty then.
We got Garchomp, as far as I know, we have seen the Sacristlan Garchomp, right? In the last match from Markus. So this might be an option to secure the knockout on Gigalith.
It'll be a little bit too much, I would say. But I guess what Markus could also do is try and predict some sort of switching, because he does have the disadvantage of number of Pokemon, but the Celesteela is sitting there, and if Markus doesn't do something about it very, very soon, the Celesteela is going to do Celesteela things, really, and ruin Markus' day.
Yeah, absolutely. Not just meant it secures it in a way that it breaks Protect and still does damage, but it uses Wide Guard instead. Yeah,
we actually see the Gigalith use Wide Guard. I think both Pokemon have Wide Guard on this team, which is quite cool. We do see the Dragon Claw into the Gigalith. Makes a lot of sense, does knock it out. But the Tapu Bulu switch was a little bit risky there. The Celesteela does go for the substitute. Now it's all a matter of whether this Gastrodon Schools can knock out the substitute. Will it be able to? I think the game pretty much relies on this. It does take the skull. That's huge for Baris.
Absolutely huge, absolutely huge. Garchomps these days usually run like Dragon Claw, Earthquake, and Poison Jab to hit like Tapu Bulu, so they can't touch Celesteela. Tapu Bulu comes in on Baris' side on the field, healing every grounded Pokemon and powering up grass type attacks, but that Bulu is probably in range of some Poison Jab or something.
Oh, it's definitely in range of Poison Jab. I mean, Garchomp is very, very speedy. Poison Jab is going to do so much damage. What did we see in the back from Baris' side? I think we saw his own Gastrodon, did we? Or did we see something else? No, we saw the Arcanine. I'm quite sure, because we saw the Z move go into it. But a Arcanine switch-in is okay. It could take the Poison Jab, but then again, you know, Baris is sort of on a timer. He does have the substitute still up with the Celesteela, so Celesteela is still his win condition. But we do see the Tapu Bulu switch out for the Arcanine. It's going to get a big Intimidate off onto that guard chomp. It doesn't have quite as much health as I thought he had in the back, so maybe a Poison Jab is going to put it into another Poison Jab KO range.
Yeah, absolutely. Or he just double targeted into it. But we see, like you already said, Celesteela doing Celesteela things. Leech stealing the Gastrodon for some health back every round, and we see the Skull coming into the sub and finally probably going to break it. Absolutely, yeah.
Yes. So the substitute finally goes down, and after we see every single Pokemon apart from the Celesteela take recovery from the grassy terrain, we might be seeing something like a Tectonic Rage onto that Arcanine just to make sure it goes down. Yeah,
absolutely.
But yeah, Leech Seed does go into the does take a bit of damage to Gastrodon, and it heals the Celesteela right back up. That Celesteela doesn't seem to have much HP, judging by how much HP it recovered from one simple Leech Seed. But yeah, what do you think? What do you think of Markus's position here?
Well, it all comes down to, I think, have a look at the clock, Matteo. We got like 5 minutes left. And this might be one of our first matches that really comes down to those seconds of whoever has more Pokemon left, and this is like a pretty rough matchup. Garchomp cannot touch the Celesteela. It can touch Arcanine though, but we see Markus withdrawing Gastrodon and sending in Tapu Koko, setting up the Electric Terra.
And we do see the Z move, the Z Tectonic Rage onto that Garchomp. I can't imagine any other target other than the Arcanine, because the Arcanine, even if it protects, it will go down. It didn't protect though, so I can't really see it taking this Tectonic Range, even after the Intimidate. And yes, goodbye Arcanine. It was a
pleasure.
To the core of the earth, and Arcanine does go down despite being a fire type, even though Tectonic Rage is a ground type move. But we do see the Celesteela set up yet another substitute. A little bit frustrating for Markus, but I think Markus does have this in the bag, because even without the electric terrain, because the Tapu Bulu is going to switch back in, Tapu Koko is still able to take the substitute out, while the Poison Jab is able to knock out the Tapu Bulu.
Yeah. Now we got a pretty good situation for Markus. Both Pokemon faster than Baris Pokemon, and both Pokemon really threatening those.
Yeah, I think this is pretty much a winning situation from Markus. I think Baris might just want to scout out, see if the Tapu Koko, what he can find out about the Tapu Koko in terms of its bulk. Maybe he's going to see what heavy damage Heavy Slam can do to whatever Markus might have in the back. I guess that's Baris' play right now, but Markus did play this one absolutely fantastically. Baris made some defensive switches. Markus made some very risky switches, but I think they ended up paying out in the long run.
Well, as we can see, let's go through outs from Baris. I don't think there are too many.
No.
There is out for Markus not pressing Poison Jab into the Bulu, but he probably will do. And we see the Volt Switch for Subbreaker, and we see the Poison Jab from Garchomp coming out.
Yeah.
Taking out the Bulu, and this secures the win for Markus. We can see Baris at the bottom. He already and look at Markus
taking a breath.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Markus. You just took a game off one of your best mates. You'd be fine. He won't be angry. But yeah, the Baris can still scout out in terms of what damage he can do. Maybe find out. Have we found out the Tapu Koko item? Did we see any Life Orb damage or any sorts?
We did not see Life Orb damage nor Leftovers damage.
I think it was Sandstorm, yeah, but the match was forfeited. Baris sparing us watching Celesteela go down to the Tapu Koko. Very well played by Markus. We are going to be jumping into a game 2 though. What do you think Baris could do to really adjust for the situation?
Well, looking at the teams, Baris got Tapu Bulu, Arcanine, Gastrodon, Gigalith, Salamence, and Celesteela. On Markus's side, there is not much that takes key for for the Gigalith, for example, besides Guard Jump and Gastrodon. So maybe it's key for Baris to take out those by... Well, it's hard. I think the matchup is pretty hard and pretty rough for Baris. Baris, the Bulu gets scared by Gengar, Guard Jump, and Celesteela. It cannot touch Celesteela. Then we got Arcanine, which may have like Will-O-Wisp, Flamethrower.
Exactly, the Tapu Bulu really struggles in this matchup, but he really does need it, because he really does need something that can switch into Markus' very, very dangerous looking Tapu Koko. But to recap on the teams, Markus Stadter has an Arcanine, a Guard Jump, Tapu Koko, Gengar, Gastrodon and Celesteela, while Baris Akcos does have the Tapu Bulu, the Arcanine, the Gastrodon, the Gigalith, the Celesteela and the Salamence.
Well, after a second look on the teams, I think like if we take Gastrodon on Baris' side as a win condition.
Well, it could be a win condition. I mean, Celesteela is pretty much known as the win condition Pokemon, but we did see one important thing that Baris could note from Markus' Gastrodon is that the skull doesn't quite knock out a substitute. No. And if you combine that with the fact that maybe Baris could switch in his own Gastrodon, maybe some Storm Drain shenanigans and power up his own Gastrodon, and maybe we can,
And here we got the leads. We got Arcanine and Tapu Koko on Markus' side, and Baris sends out another Arcanine and Gigalith, setting up Sandstorm, and Tapu Koko setting up Electric Terrain.
Yes, and we also see an Intimidate from both of these Arcanines. Baris' Arcanine is moving last, so this might either indicate the fact that Baris lost a speed tie, or the fact that Markus' Arcanine is a little bit speedier than Baris.
Yeah, and I think it is the second one, because Markus always likes to move first when not playing Trick Room. Well, again, there is no bad lead on either side of the field. Gigalith is pretty comfortable there. And Markus withdraws his Arcanine in favor of Guard Jump and goes for a Volt Switch with his Tapu Koko into the Arcanine, and now can choose.
I think we might see an Arcanine come back in here, which, if we do see the Arcanine come back in, it will be an excellent shuffling of Intimidates. But we do just see the Gastrodon, maybe because he doesn't want to take Rock moves. Baris is furrowing his brow there. He seems a bit confused by some of these plays, but the Toxic goes into the Gastrodon. That's quite big there, actually.
Absolutely, and we see a sad move coming from Gigalith. So we are going to see a really strong rock move.
I believe this is the Continental Crush, which when it holds the Rock EMZ, it allows it to use a big rock move. And that Gastrodon, well, there was an Arcanine there a second ago, but that must be painful. But Guard Jump can take it very well, because it does resist the rock, and it's got very good defense on its own. Meanwhile, the Sandstorm is going to do only damage to Arcanine because of all these ground and rock types on the field.
So now Guard Jump is well, in a pretty good position. It's pretty much free to Earthquake if Markus got Celesteela in the back, and it would be a pretty hard read for Baris to press the White God button and to press, for example, Will-O-Wisp. And then Guard Jump may still use its set crystal to fire off a single targeting ground move, and that now comes down to the ground move Markus is choosing. He's pretty much free to fire off at least one.
Yeah, Markus is actually, I think the way Markus wins this matchup is by playing a lot more offensively than he would usually prefer to play anyway. But we do see the withdrawal of the Arcanine from Baris' end of the field, and in favour of that Celesteela. Markus nodding his head there, maybe he's expecting that himself. We do see a double switch from Baris' side, so we had two double switches in 2 turns from opposing players. The Tapu Bulu does come in favour of the Gigalith, setting up the Grassy Surge, allowing the Tapu Bulu, but not the Celesteela, to recover. We just see it protect, not wasting the Tectonic Rage on the Celesteela, but we just see the Toxic go into the Tapu Bulu, which, yeah, I think this is going to be a bit of a long battle with Toxic and Celesteela around.
Absolutely. So Baris totally expected an earthquake coming. That's why the two switch-ins came. Tapu Bulu doesn't want to face that Garchomp at all.
No.
There is Poison Jab on the line, and pretty good read from Markus. The Protect was safe play. Gastrodon fired off a Toxic into the Bulbasaur, which was pretty good play. They're both thinking in long term.
They're both thinking of that long game, but in this situation, I can't see Markus making any other play other than poison jabbing the Tapu Bulu and switching the Gastrodon in for a Tapu Koko. But maybe Baris can read that and punish that, but how would he do that?
Well, start doing Celesteela things.
I guess so, yeah. Set up the substitute and see where it goes from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Either substitute or start leech seeding right from the front.
Yeah, from the get-go. But we do see the Tapu Bulu withdrawing, not wanting to take a big poison jab from the Garchomp. The Gigalith is going to come in. It's going to take barely any damage from the poison jab itself. We do see the Gastrodon come out in favour of the Arcanine actually, and not the Tapu Koko like I presumed it was going to be. But the Intimidate is going to be quite big there. It's going to lower the attack on the Gigalith and the Celesteela. Maybe Markus was covering for that option, but we do see the poison jab there, and it's not going to do very much damage at all to that Gigalith.
No, it got huge.
And
gets poison. This might be huge later on. But Baris tries to set up a long-term game right now with sub and defensive switches and gets punished by that poison. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, this might be actually a bit of an unfortunate situation for Markus because the substitute did just go up, and his only way of really dealing with it is with the Arcanine, and protects from the Celesteela will be dangerous. But the Arcanine would possibly also want to, Will-O-Wisp the Gigalith, but now it can't because it's poisoned.
Absolutely, absolutely. Have we already seen the Tectonic range from Garchomp coming out?
We have not seen a Tectonic range. That could happen as well onto the Gigalith.
Absolutely. If Garchomp decides to go for the Zap move into the Gigalith slot and Arcanine decides to break this up with a Fire-type move, then it's open again.
Yeah, very, very true. Markus does input his move. We're just waiting on Baris to choose what he's going to do. Baris is probably in a little bit of a fishier situation because he doesn't want to lose the lead too quickly. But we do see the Tectonic Rage and no switches at all. The Tectonic Rage is going to activate onto that Garchomp, probably going to be targeting that Gigalith. We did not see a Protect, so this is going to be a fully powered Tectonic Rage. Unless, has the Garchomp switched out since it's Intimidate? I don't think so, but yes it did actually. But we're going to see a Tectonic Range onto this Gigalith, and it's going to do how much damage? Is it going to knock out? Yes, it is going to knock out this all with a critical hit. I don't know whether that mattered or not. Baris is furrowing his brow again. Maybe it did matter, and we do see an easy flamethrower just to break that substitute.
Yeah, absolutely. This was the safest play Markus could do, and probably Baris didn't expect Markus to just go for the obvious play.
Yeah, well, we do see the Leech Seeds onto the Garchomp. Celesteela is going to try and do its thing, but with the Arcanine facing down and looking angry, it might be a little bit difficult.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Markus is in the leading position right now, absolutely, no doubt. I wonder what Arcanine set is about. Maybe some Will-O-Wisp, maybe some Snarl, maybe even some Morning Sun for healing back some health later on once the Sandstorm is down. And Baris sends his own Arcanine in, firing off the Intimidate and lowering Garchomp's and Markus's Arcanine's attack.
Yeah, but at this point the Garchomp's damage has been done. It did go for that big Tectonic Rage to get the KO on the Gigalith, but the Garchomp ideally wants to be preserved so it can poison jab freely against the Tapu Bulu.
Yeah.
So maybe we're going to see a switch out. Markus does have 2 more Pokemon in back, including that Tapu Koko to reset the Electric Surge. Markus's Arcanine in the meantime can do some stuff to Celesteela as well to make sure it takes at least some damage before setting up another substitute.
Absolutely, absolutely. If Arcanine's got Will-O-Wisp, this will be a good time to Will-O-Wisp the Celesteela before it sets up the sub. Though it gets half back every time it finds someone to Leech Seed. This is a tough situation for Baris, since he cannot damage Markus's Pokemon a lot. He has to focus on defensive play, but always has to take some damage.
Yeah, but we just see the Gastrodon switch in for the Garchomp, resetting the Leech Seed and the Intimidate. And we do see the Flamethrower onto the Celesteela doing a lot more damage than I thought it was going to do. Why is Flamethrower doing more damage and then Volt Switch is not doing quite as much? But yeah, we do see the Arcanine get poisoned and the Leech Seed onto the Arcanine. That Arcanine is going to be taking a lot of residual damage this turn. While the Sandstorm does subside, so maybe not quite as much as I thought it was going to be.
Well, that Flamethrower has been a bit underestimating. Now Celesteela gets half back through Leech Seed and Leftovers, and stands a second Flamethrower easily. Depending on how well Gastrodon is trained into special attack, it may even stand a Scald as well if Markus decides to target down the Celesteela. But still Baris is still in a pretty tough situation. He cannot damage, again, Markus's Pokemon a lot. He still has to focus on defensive play, and this is what Markus is probably capitalizing on.
Yeah, Markus definitely does have the advantage in terms of how flexibly he can use his offensive moves, while Baris is pretty much restricted to defensive plays. But defensive plays usually tend to beat the offensive plays, so Markus really has to make sure he doesn't doesn't play too obviously, doesn't play too safely. I think he really has to go for big moves at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we are going to see the time slowly run out for Markus while they both pick their moves still. But we see the Arcanine just go straight for the Flamethrower onto the Celesteela. We don't even see it protected for any potential recovery, but it's not going to quite knock out. Are we going to see a Morning Sun from Baris Arcanine? That one's an interesting one, certainly. It's going to recover all of its health all the way up to full, but is this Celesteela in range of it? Gastrodon avoids the attack, which is kind of big. Well, the Scald is going to be enough. No, it's not into the Celesteela slot. That may have been a little bit of a mistake.
Whoa. That Leech Seed miss was kind of big. Kind of big. Imagine two active Leech Seeds are recovering health for Celesteela, being able to protect the next turn.
Yeah. Thinking about it, Markus actually made a fantastic play by flamethrowing the Celesteela, because there was nothing Baris could really do against the flamethrower onto that slot. If he switched in Tapu Bulu, the Tapu Bulu was probably either going to go down, especially because I believe it has been toxic by the Gastrodon at one point. But speaking of toxic, the poison damage is going to start stacking more and more and more. The grassy terrain does leave, so there's not going to be any recovery from grassy terrain this turn.
No, absolutely, and I wonder if we are going to see some interesting new fire moves, like Burn Up with an interesting mechanic, which takes away your typing, meaning that afterwards you do not have a typing.
Yeah.
This would be interesting, because then Arcanine may stand some Scalds aimed at itself better, being able to Morning Sun up.
So we see a switch from the Arcanine on Markus's end. It might have been a little bit of an odd play, because there's nothing really that Baris was doing from his own Arcanine to prevent any sorts of flamethrower. But we do see the Arcanine going for the Morning Sun again to recover most of its health back. Meanwhile, Leech Seed onto the Gastrodon this time. This time it does connect finally. While Gastrodon is free to go for any move it wants. What do we see? We do see a Scald onto the Arcanine slot yet again. He's ignoring that Celesteela, and I don't know if that is the correct play to make.
I'm not sure neither, but I learned that I shouldn't question Markus, because he obviously got a plan, and if we don't see it, it's still there. And I doubt he's ignoring Celesteela for no reason. He got his reason, and he's probably trying to take down that Arcanine to take care of Celesteela later on with Tapu Koko.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Tapu Koko is going to be doing a lot of damage with any move, electric move, really, whether it be the Thunderbolt or the Volt Switch. But Baris can, do a very good Tapu Bulu defensive switching right now.
Absolutely. I wonder if we are going to see it.
Yeah, I mean, Markus is taking some time, but we do see the Celesteela switch into the Tapu Bulu. So a Volt Switch onto that slot is a very safe move from Markus, yet again. the Tapu Bulu hasn't taken quite as much damage as I thought it had already taken, but we are going to see the Gastrodon switch out as well to reset the poison damage in favour of the Arcanine. I like that play a lot. It's going to intimidate the Baris Arcanine yet again and intimidate the Tapu Bulu, which is quite big as well. Do we see a Volt Switch? We do see a Volt Switch into the Tapu Bulu. It's going to do minuscule damage, but it's the switch that really matters in this situation here. While Markus Stadter does have the choice of what to switch into. Does he switch into his Guard Chomp, which is now, relatively safe, or does he switch back into his Gastrodon to try and, chip as much onto these onto the opposing Pokemon as possible?
Well, I guess as far as I know, Markus is going to go for Guard Chomp because he always goes. Gastrodon doesn't do anything for the game.
Yeah. Absolutely wonderful Will-O-Wisp onto that, well, not a great Will-O-Wisp from Baris then, because the Arcanine did switch in to take that Will-O-Wisp.
And we see the poison damage on Arcanine.
Yeah, we see the triple poison damage onto the Arcanine, onto the Tapu Bulu as well. We're also going to see recovery on the grassy terrain.
So, we are up. Arcanine and Guard Chomp on Markus's side versus Arcanine and Tapu Bulu on Baris' side. We all know that Guard Chomp is able to poison jab into the Bulu slot.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, the Tapu Bulu is going to be taking the poison jab. It's not going to be able to take the poison jab. The Celesteela can switch back into that slot, which is probably Baris' safe play. But again, Arcanine can, flamethrower that slots as well.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a 50-50 in terms of what Baris can really do. I think the 50-50 is in Markus' favour though. But we see the Arcanine withdrawing in favour of the Celesteela. Maybe to preserve the Intimidate and to protect the Tapu Bulu.
And we are going to see a Dragon Claw coming out into the Celesteela slot and probably a Flamethrower as well.
Oh, a Flamethrower into that slot. What a marvellous... Either that was a prediction or he just really wanted to pick up the KO on the Arcanine. Baris has lost what essentially boils down to his win condition. The Wind Hammer is going to go into the Guard Chomp and do a lot of damage, but the Ruskin combined with the Wood Hammer recall damage, combined with the poison damage, but minus the Citrus Berry. The Tapu Bulu is just going to go down to a poison jab next turn, unless... Have we seen Protect on this Tapu Bulu at all?
that's how Baris plays. He's always pretty aggressive. There's not much he can do to get away with a win in this game, I think.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the Arcanine is going to come back in, but even with the Intimidate, the Tapu Bulu can't really take the Poison Jab. I think the one out that Baris maybe does have is to protect Tapu Bulu and maybe go for some extreme speeds just to make sure that Guard Chomp gets KO'd. But then again, Markus can play very, very safely for that.
Absolutely. He's still got 4 Pokemon left, and the match was forfeited. Congratulations, Markus Stadter.
Yeah, absolutely excellently played by Markus. He did not lose a single Pokemon. Pokemon in that second game. He was playing offensive